Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. I hope everybody's feeling good for no reason at all, operating the truest and highest radiation of your authentic self. As for me, I am feeling good for no reason at all. Never underestimate the value of your presence. Never underestimate the value of your presence. I wanted to say power, but we as human beings have a habit of taking things and running with it. Sometimes too much, sometimes not enough. So instead of using power, I will use value. To say again, never underestimate the value of your presence. More so, make sure that you know it. I hope y'all staying hydrated, family. The weather is tricky. Never underestimate the value of your presence, but at the same time, make sure you know what that is. And as I was contemplating on that earlier, because our mind is really a spaceship. We use it all the time, and it have us in many different places. If you're in the body, it don't take for me to tell you this. But as I was contemplating on what that was saying to me, it concluded that sometimes, family, our absence be holding way more weight. And I think I said this before. Our absence be holding way more weight than our presence sometimes. Sometimes we don't understand the lessons that came with certain experiences until absence had made itself present. Ain't that something? It takes for absence to make itself present for us to get it. And that's a good thing, because however we need to get it, you know, as long as we get it, that's all that counts. But sometimes our absence reveal the lessons that our presence never could. All the talking, all the time, all the energy, all the effort that we put in to who we put it into, for whatever results we be seeking or expecting, which is probably why we never get to see them, because we expected them in the first place instead of just playing our part or knowing how to play our part in the first place. But we have a tendency to try to do more directing and controlling instead of going with the flow and letting things take its natural and proper order. And in the event of that, most times something happens for us to see ourselves in whatever happened. And it gets a chance to show all of us, regardless of what's going on, what's being experienced, what's being endured, the value that we hold and the value or esteem that we hold others in. But never underestimate the power of your presence. And that's important on another note, because sometimes we place more value in others than we have the ability to place in ourselves. And a lot of times we can tell how of people address things or talk about things. In any case, I hope we find it in us to be grateful and exercise gratitude through it all, because the present day momentum is in having gratitude. The attitude is gratitude. Y'all pardon me, my phone ringing in there. The attitude is gratitude. And as I was contemplating on gratitude, a lot of people were surfacing in the eye of my mind. You know, I'm grateful for a lot of people who I've had to experience in my life. It's been a very blessing to the point that it posed a question for me to ask the family. Who loved you during the times that you couldn't love yourself? Because contemplating on that gave me a lot to be grateful for, because I have been in times where I wasn't loving myself. And if it wasn't for having certain people, certain angels, certain angles of light in my life, I couldn't have persevered. I couldn't have pushed through. I couldn't have held on. Who loved you during the times you couldn't love yourself? And everybody should be able to point to somebody, because nobody came here knowing how to love themselves. And most of us who thought we was loving ourselves learned how to love ourselves from dysfunctional people who didn't know how to love themselves. But it wasn't their fault, you know. It's our fault if we still live in that same way. We gotta, you know, it's funny that I'm speaking to this, but it's not. It's in synchronicity, I'm supposed to. But it reminded me of a conversation that I was just having. It might have been yesterday. It might have been last week. I don't know. Time is all the same to me. Yeah, if y'all know me, been rocking with me long enough, y'all know that by now. But my point is, we've been so programmed, family. This is important. We've been so programmed to, it's almost funny that we got to put in ourselves things to wake up and activate what's already there. But we ain't accustomed to operating in it naturally. So when we see others operating in things which we all should be doing natural, it seems supernatural to us. So that's why I come and plant these seeds and drop jewels, you know, along with wherever we pick up seeds and jewels from. But my importance is, we gotta put in ourselves things to wake up what's already been there, because we've been programmed. You know, we've been programmed to cover up ourselves through the things that they use the programs to cover it up with. So in this great ascension, in this great wake up, everybody woke, you know. It's a lot of programming, reprogramming that gotta be done. It's a lot of unlearning and relearning that gotta be done, you know. And if you ain't doing it, I don't know how you woke. Woke ain't acting the same this year that you acted last year. Woke ain't acting the same this week that you acted last week. Woke is always constantly and continually trying to be better than you never been. Somebody will catch it. That's how much we've been programmed. And that's why knowing who and what we are is so important. Not according to the old paradigm, but according to this present one, according to the one that we created and today through new thought forms, which produce new feelings, not necessarily new feelings, but feelings that we have, but we only experience them on minimal levels when we should be experiencing all the time. Like I say, feel good for no reason at all. That's something that we should be able to do all the time. But we've been programmed in the system of life, you know, it don't condition us to not know, to be able to know how to do that. And in what we know, now we're responsible to be masters of self. We ain't got no fingers to point. We ain't got nobody to blame unless we blaming ourselves. It's on me and it's on you to feel good for no reason at all. To find your happy factor, to find your joy factor. Because everything contrary to that. If something can happen in our life that can make us feel contrary to joy, contrary to happiness, contrary to being able to know how to laugh, it's gonna happen, family. It's gonna happen. But only through the test do we have a testimony. And if you ain't got no testimony, then you probably complaining about the test that you're going through. I'm gonna say it again. Without the test, we wouldn't have a testimony. And if you don't, in this present day, have a testimony, then you probably have a complaint. And if you have a testimony, then you probably hear testimonies. Otherwise, you're hearing complaints. Which side are you on? If things happen by divine design, and we hear people say this, I hear people say this all the time, it's by divine design. Well, if it's by divine design, why do we panic? Why do we get an emotion when things happen? If things happen by divine design, why do we panic? Why we get beat out of shape when things happen? Whether they go our way or they don't. Why do we react at all if things happen? Why do we have any type of reaction? I'm going there. Why do we have any type of reaction if things happen by divine design? Shouldn't we expect it? Shouldn't we expect it? So something is wrong. Because if things happen by divine design and we reacted to them, if it's happening by divine design, it would seem that we shouldn't probably have a reaction at all. We would already know, unless we don't. Unless we really not connected how we be professing. Unless we really not connected as we thought we believed. And as we try to make others believe. Why do we react if things happen by divine design unless we're not connected to the divine designer? Victory over darkness is acquired through free choice. You gotta choose. If I gotta choose, you gotta choose. I am, because I can't say I am for you. But you can say it for you. And you can't say I am for me. Let me hear you say I am for me. See, it's gonna only be for you. 20 years ago, 20, maybe 30, you know, I'm gonna say 20 years ago, so y'all don't try to be too nosy into my age. But 20 years ago, I was telling people I came to do this one time, meaning I came to master this life and live an experience one time. And do it one time for eternity. They ain't get it then. And many still don't get it now. But now that everybody woke, I'm going to say, when duality, I'm going to even give y'all hints. When duality comes into unity, it will be the last time for you too. When duality comes into unity, when yin and yang, masculine and feminine, God and the devil, whatever you believe, when it comes into unity, oneness, wholeness, it will be the last time for you too. It's a cult teaching, but somebody gonna get it. Victory over darkness, family, is acquired through free choice. You gotta choose. The ancestors celebrating. The ancestors is celebration right now. And they've been celebrating for a minute. For those of us who can pick up on it. For those of us who know how to tap in. The ancestors celebrating what we have become. What we have become. Not just me, because I ain't the only one. I don't do this for myself. The ancestors are celebrating what we have become for those of us who are remembering who we are. So I salute the family. I'm going to say it again. The ancestors are celebrating what we have become by remembering who we are. Because everybody that we think passed away, died or transitioned, etc., etc., they right here. They right present. They be present around us all the time. But we got to tap into other senses to be able to see, hear, or feel them. And some of us can. Some of us can see them. Some of us can feel them. Some of us can smell them. Because if you remember certain people in your life, everybody carry a fragrance. Everybody has their own fragrance. So that's how I know sometimes when my grandmother present, because I smell her scent. But some of us can hear them. Some of us can feel them. And some of us can even touch them. But not in the physical sense. Not touch as we're accustomed to in the physical plane. Or on the physical plane through flesh, but touch on a much more deeper and subtle level. For those who astral project and starting to try to build the formation of a macabre, you're probably familiar with that aspect of what I'm speaking of. Touch through your light body. And I wish us well. I wish us encouragement. I wish us inspiration. I wish us motivation. And I wish us well on our journey. In stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Continue to feel good for no reason at all. And if you ain't get there yet, just keep working at it. The more you work at it, the easier it will get. It will, trust me. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your shares. Thank you for your subscribes. Thank you for telling a friend, the telegraph, the telepath. Thank you for being you and allowing me to be me, man. Salute to God. Peace and power, family.